Well, the administration's troubling trifecta becoming a Republican problem now. Campaign guru Karl Rove writing that Republicans focusing solely on these scandals, well, it could all backfire on them. Karl Rove says that unless they address the economy and keep that front and center, they will lose depending on these scandals. Now, is he right? Let us ask Fox News contributor Jedediah Bila and Sabrina Schaeffer of the Independent Women's Forum. Sabrina, on that notion that he's not saying don't pay attention to these scandals, they're big and they warrant attention, but at the cost of all else, not a good idea. What do you say?
Well, I'm not sure I entirely agree with Rove. I think that he's onto something, and I think that Republicans do risk overplaying their hand if they don't have something really strong to fall back on. And Rove is suggesting that we focus on the economy. I think that Republicans can use this really as a teachable moment to talk about the size and the scope of the regulatory state.
Oh,
we have because we have so many visitors right now to D.C., all of these tourists walking around Constitution Avenue. They need to understand what's going on in these buildings, the IRS, the EPA, the rest of them. There's a lot to sort of be learned from these incidents.
That's actually a very good point, that you could bring that into an economic or just big government discussion. Yeah. Jedediah, what do you make of that?
I think the bottom line he was trying to get at, which I agree with, is that you have to stand for something. You can't repeatedly keep winning by saying what this guy is doing is wrong, his policy is wrong. Yes, you need to focus on these scandals, but I think you can pivot a little bit. Talk about freedom. If your civil liberties are being encroached on as a result of these scandals, talk about what you're going to do to protect those constitutional rights for people. Focus on what you can do, because I think what we saw in the 2012 presidential election, people didn't feel compelled to go out and vote for Mitt Romney. You're going to talk about Obamacare, you can talk about why it's bad policy, but be prepared to propose good policy, to explain to people why your choice is better.
Well, you know, Sabrina, if you argue just from a political standpoint, Republicans do have the wind at their back on this sudden questioning of, do we really want a big, all-giving government, because it can do a lot of bad things too. But he's also warning, don't botch this now. You've got a convincing argument to make to the American people why you think smaller is better. How would you follow up on that?
Well, first of all, I absolutely agree, and I think Jedediah is exactly right. The fact is, this is a great opportunity to bring a lot of those Republican voters who were really dissatisfied after the November election sort of back into the tent. But I think we have to be careful. When you look at those poll numbers, you get the sense that Americans are sort of generally dissatisfied with the president and that they're going to come to your side. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll see that these scandals really divide along partisan lines. And so I'm not sure Republicans are really going to be able to bring new people in, but I do think, as Jedediah suggested, they can bring, sort of get some new energy into the party.
I think also, though, libertarians' eyes are wide open right now. Young voters care very deeply about these issues when it comes to their civil liberties. This is an opportunity for the Republican Party, and Rand Paul, I think, is leading the charge on this, to say, we understand what you're saying. We don't want an overstuffed bureaucracy that infringes on your rights. We don't want an overstuffed bureaucracy that controls your health care decisions. We want you to make those decisions for yourself. We want your privacy protected. You know, in the name of security, we are not going to encroach on your ability to have that kind of privacy. So I think this is an opportunity for them to pull more people in that they haven't been successful in getting in the past.
Well, they've been successful in the past to grab defeat from the jaws of victory. So maybe between all of you, there is a strategy.
Take our advice.
Guys, thank you very, very much. All right, something that just confuses me. The stock shock. We're up, we're down.